I'm Nancy Showalter, and you're listening to Spirituality for the Politically Incorrect podcast. Welcome, all radical paradigm shifters and creative change makers. You who dare to create a better life and a better world. Tap into the power that resides within you and use that power for constructive change. Hello and welcome to today's episode, Universal Laws Part 2, The Law of Free Will. Now, the law of free will is many times overlooked and not included in the list of universal laws. But if you think about it, your ability to choose is critical in determining the outcomes for your life. So from my perspective, it's one of the most important, if not the most important, of all the universal laws. Because we have to consider, even after you're aware of universal laws, you have the choice as to whether or not you follow them. And some people question whether or not we really have free will. Because if we choose not to follow universal laws, there are negative consequences. But of course, this is why it's even more important that we learn these laws and align with them so we can thrive and make progress. Ask yourself, do you believe that circumstances limit your choices and you don't really have free will? Or you're a victim of your upbringing or your status in life or identification with a certain group of people? If so, this is a false belief that limits you. You can choose to be who you want to be, to think the thoughts that go beyond your limits, and feel a specific way, no matter what your circumstances are. It's really up to you. I like to look at the life of the amazing Viktor Frankl, who lived through his experience in the Auschwitz concentration camp. He said, "When we are no longer able to change a situation, we are challenged to change ourselves." This was a great lesson he learned when his freedom was taken away from him and he was brutally treated. He could not change how he was being treated, so he chose to change how he responded to it, how he perceived it. And as a result, not only did he survive when many others perished, but he also lived to tell his story of personal transformation that has helped millions. Our free will is exercised all the time. We have small and large choices in life, and that range from deciding when to get up in the morning, when to go to the store, whether we want to get married, have a child, whether we speed on the highway and risk a ticket or accident, or to join a neighborhood gang in order to feel we belong somewhere. The choices you make in these instances lead to very different outcomes. Some are positive, some are negative, some don't impact your life or anyone else's in any significant way. But making decisions is a critical part of who you are and how you progress in life. And this is both spiritually and materially. So take a time, recall, write down a time when you had a major decision to make. If you can't think of a major decision, then use any decision where you had two or more options to choose from and you had to make a choice. Once you've identified the situation, then list what your choices were in that situation. Taking the choice that you did make, what was the outcome that resulted? Then look at other potential choices. What might have been different if you made any of those choices? Do you regret the choice you actually made? What did you learn from that experience? Have you made the most from that outcome? It's worth spending some time on this because it's very important to understand the significance and the results of the decisions that you make. I will be with you next week as we investigate our second universal law, the law of vibration. Until then, keep an open mind, a generous heart, and a powerful spirit. Thank you for being with me today, and if you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe, download, and comment. I'd love to hear from you, and your support is much appreciated. And don't forget to go to theawakeningnow.com for free bonuses and information on my new book, You Were Born to Be a Christ, but You Were Taught You Are a Sinner. Awaken to who you really are. See you next week.